This day in Philly sports history is proud to be a part of the Clashing Conferences Sports Fan Network, where passionate fans make powerful content. Check out theclashingconferences.com and join the squad today. What's up, everyone? Welcome to This Day in Philly Sports History for August 7th, 2026. I'm your host, Jim Montgomery. Welcome to a feel-good Friday edition of the podcast, a steamy feel-good Friday. We kind of have a transitional podcast today. We got a big show, but we're kind of closing out some of the things from the summer, getting ready for football. It wasn't good football, but NFL football last night, so football season is here. Got the Phillies playoff race heating up, so this is going to start our transition time, and sign me up for it. Let's start because we have a new greatest Philly high school hoops figure of all time. This tournament has been brought to you all summer by Beach Caddy. Go to beachcaddy.app. Use the promo code Jim Montgomery to take 10% off your move-in, move-out service, as well as your beach cart rentals. If you're in Wildwood, Sea Isle, Avalon, Stone Harbor, or Ocean City, Beach Caddy takes the stress out of your Jersey Shore vacation. We're still early August, but there's still time to get down to the shore, so let Beach Caddy make it easier for you. Go to beachcaddy.app and use that promo code Jim Montgomery to take 10% off of your order. All right, so we started this tournament back in June. 48 different candidates for greatest Philly high school hoops. We had some great matchups, some absolute legends of the game, but it came down this week to two, Wilt Chamberlain and Kobe Bryant. I really don't think there's any surprise that those were the two that were playing each other. I think if you look at it big picture-wise, and even when I was doing the seeding, those were the first two names that came to mind. Of course, you have Dawn, you have Rashid, who certainly can make strong cases. And then I think there was a little bit more of a drop-off then. And then you had some really, really good. But I think these two across time, the fact that Kobe broke Wilt's scoring record for Southeast Pennsylvania, these two will forever be intertwined. As the voting went this week, I mentioned all week, it's been close. It definitely seemed to fall along generational lines. And I say that because I feel like there's a lot of folks around my age who grew up with Kobe, but all we heard were our dads and our uncles talking about just how great Wilt Chamberlain was. So it's been a great tournament. I do think that the vote really tells you how close these two are with regards to who truly is the GOAT of Philly high school basketball, really the GOAT of Philly basketball in general. It was 53% to 47%. So this was one of the closest matchups of the entire tournament too. Both players, like Kobe jumped out early, Wilt battled back, took a lead, Kobe battled back. It was back and forth all week. It was fun watching this, but when the voting closed early this morning, there was one name that stood atop the mountain. Wilt Chamberlain is the greatest Philly high school hoops figure of all time. 53% of the vote, defeating Kobe. Again, it was close. Kobe did take the lead at one point yesterday. And then just throughout the day, lots of voting on the Back to the Future voice and text line. So I want to thank you. I love doing these tournaments during the summer. Gives us something sometimes when there's not much. But Wilt now joins the 2000-2001 Sixers. Dr. J, who was the champion? I think it was Steve Carlton's 1972 season is the greatest season in Philly sports history. So thank you to everybody. Hope you had some fun with this. But Wilt Chamberlain, congrats, Wilt. You are voted the listeners' choice for greatest Philly high school hoops figure of all time. Special shout out to Beach Caddy for helping us out with this tournament all summer. Please go give them a check if you're down at the Jersey Shore. It's a no-brainer. I think one of the things I think about is, what can I do to make my life easier? And having somebody move me in, move me out when I'm going to the shore, that's got to be up there in the top of the list. I'm a sweater. I don't like to sweat, especially to open up and start your vacation. Let Beach Caddy do it. Use the promo code Jim Montgomery to take 10% off your order. But again, congratulations. Wilt Chamberlain, with 53% of the vote, is our greatest Philly high school hoops figure. Kind of get back into the regular flow. I'm not really sure. Again, it might be a transitional period. What our special thing is going to be for the rest of August. I got a couple things in mind, so stay tuned for that. But Wilt Chamberlain takes home the crown. All right. That was more like it yesterday. This is yesterday's Phillies game. That is what they should be. This is what they could be. Wasn't the best outing by Christopher Sanchez by any stretch of the imagination, but he was solid. Went 5 innings, struck out 6 to get his 15th win. But offensively, they didn't hit the long ball. They doubled them to death. 8 doubles for the Phillies. It was good to see Kyle Schwarber break out of his slump. The bullpen was actually pretty good in this game. Christopher was able to get in and out of jams pretty easy. Would have liked to not have to deal with the jams, but the offense responded each time when they needed to. I just felt like what we saw yesterday, that is what this team could be if they are consistent with everything. But a good win. They take that series against the Nationals, winning it 7-3. They open up a 3-game set this weekend with the Blue Jays. Very much looking forward to tonight's game. It is Chase Utley Wall of Fame night. And I think for anybody who was a fan of the 2008 Phillies, you fell into one of 3 categories, maybe 4. I'll throw a bone to my brother, who was a Shane Victorino guy. But it was either Chase, it was Ryan, or Jimmy. And I don't think that's a knock against the other 2. It's just everybody had their favorite, and Chase probably had the most fans out of everybody. And I think a lot of times because of the way after that series they went into the tank, because they were going for it and didn't have the farm system to replenish. I think we really forget how good that core 3 was. Jimmy went in last year, but Chase, had he not been injured, I think he would have been a surefire Hall of Famer. Obviously, it looks like he might get in eventually, but I mean, his numbers for a certain time there, we've talked about the 2 streaks of 5 homers in a game. We just got finished talking about the winning streak or the hitting streaks. But to me, I think Chase Utley was that guy that Howard was the big bopper. Rollins was sort of the leader and the spark plug. But Utley was the guy that sort of embodied Philly fans. Prior to winning in 2008, and I can't stress this enough for the young fans out there, it was brutal to be a Philly sports fan. And I think Chase embodied I'm going out there, I'm getting my uniform dirty, I'm going to do the little things, I'm going to hustle and just whatever. And I think he got us. Obviously, the moment at the World Series parade with the World Effing Champions, some people didn't like that. I personally loved it because he said exactly what we were all feeling at that time. I think, obviously, the Harry Kalas, Chase Utley, you are the man. The sprinting around the bases on his first home run at the Vet. But to me, the greatest play of Chase Utley's career in Philly has to be the fake throw in the World Series. My all-time favorite, because I think that really we would have been coming back to Tampa Bay because that run could have scored. And who knows if with that crowd, the Phillies absolutely could have come back. But that changes the whole complexion of that game and changes the Phillies' mindset from trying to take the lead from a tie to all of a sudden now we have to come from behind. So that's my all-time favorite. But looking forward to going down to the ballpark tonight to see Chase get inducted into the Wall of Fame. But well-deserved. And why don't we take the day and the weekend? Hit me up on the Back to the Future voice and text line 267-495-8531. Give me your all-time favorite Chase Utley memories. Let's take a trip down Philly sports memory lane today, which is kind of one of the taglines of this podcast, and let me know what your favorite Chase Utley moment is as Chase Utley gets inducted into the Wall of Fame tonight prior to the Blue Jays game. And, of course, Zach Wheeler on the mound, so feeling good about our chances tonight. All right, Sixers. This was really cool. Jalen Brown had his introductory press conference, and instead of having it at the practice facility in Camden, he said, no, I want the kids of Philly to be there, and they moved it to one of the rec centers in Kinsessing, and I think, honestly, he just endeared himself to how many other kids were at that press conference. They are going to be Jalen Brown fans. And I think for even somebody like me, it's just like, I'll get more into his interview later, but I feel like I'm in the same boat that he is. And it's kind of like I hated you for how many years because you played for the Celtics and now you're my guy. But that to me was just a cool thing to have it at a rec center and allow those kids to be there. Like, he interacted with them, he took pictures and everything. To me, that's really, really cool, and what a great way to make a first impression on your new city. But he talked about it. He said, I was not happy when he got traded. He threw his phone, and I mean, I get it. I 100% get it. And then when he found out it was the Sixers, the fact that he talked about it on his Twitch stream previously, that, look, I hated the process. I hated Philly. I hated everything Philly. So it's still weird for him, and it's a process. And I think my biggest takeaway from his press conference was his honesty. He didn't duck any questions. When he was asked about Jason Tatum, he was like, not really. I haven't talked to him. But I think overall, the way to take the positive out of this is the fact that he was asked flat out, how do you expect to play with 5 guys that can be alphas and scorers? And he's like, look, we all need to get on the same page. For him, it's about winning. It's not about the MVPs, he said. It's not about scoring titles. It's about winning. So he's going to come in and do whatever he needs to do. And they're all on the same page. They already talked about the group chats. They're trying, like, I love it. Like, you got LeBron, who's coming in trying to win one last title before he retires. You got Jalen Brown, who has a huge chip on his shoulder, who's trying to prove that he's a winner and wants to win. You got Joel Embiid, who looks in phenomenal shape right now, who is playing for his legacy here in Philly. And even I feel like, and I've heard people talk about this, and it's just dumb, because Dr. J didn't win a title here until Moses Malone came. So what if it takes Jalen Brown and an aging LeBron James? If Joel wins a title, it completely changes his legacy. Sure, we're still going to talk about the what if he didn't get injured as much. But the fact that he's going to be a champion in this city for a franchise who doesn't have many championships completely changes his legacy. So he's going to come in focus. I want to dispel a myth that a lot of people were talking about on the sports talk radio and Twitter for a couple weeks after LeBron signed, or after Jalen got traded here, I should say. Joe reached out the day of the trade. So just goes to show you, I told you, we don't know the whole story. Doesn't mean it didn't happen. According to Jalen Brown, it did happen. So I think these guys, those 3 specifically, are going to be willing to sacrifice points for the better good of the team. And I think that's what you need, especially with a Tyrese Maxey in his prime, who is going to be the guy. A VJ Edgecombe, who Jalen Brown talked about in his press conference yesterday, who he really, really loves. Come on now. I love it. Look, this could be the ultimate Lucy with the football. I don't care. I told you the Sixers are like my crazy ex, and she's got me again. So I am ready to go. Let's do it. But again, I think that to me, the coolest thing was the fact that he did it at a rec center so kids could be there. And just like an awesome move. He seems like a great dude as well. The fact that he didn't have to do that. And he said, he's like, look, some people do it for money. Some people do it for the accolades. I want to win. And that's the kind of guy I want on my team. All right, the Union lose their first game in Group Cup stage for the Leagues Cup. They had their chances. They absolutely had chances, just couldn't get the ball in the back of the net. So Cruz Azul, all right. Well played, Rocky. Well played. Because I know they put their flag on Rocky, and I talked about the curse yesterday. But here's what you don't understand. Rocky is smart. Rocky's giving all of these teams false hope now. Because this was a group stage match. This wasn't a knockout stage round. It wasn't a playoff game. So Rocky's like, okay. So a little bit of false hope. So well played, Rocky. Well played. I see what you did there. Their next group stage is against Club Nicasa on Sunday down at Subaru Park. Hopefully they can get a win and try to move on this. But I see what you did there, Rocky. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, let them think the curse is over. So these NFL teams, these NBA Major League Baseball teams that are going to come in will dress up Rocky, and then boom, we get him. Just like in the movie, he's getting hurt. No, he's not getting hurt. He's getting mad. Anyway, yesterday, I told you, it's Feel Good Friday. It's been a long week. But yesterday's trivia question. The Boston Red Sox went 794 consecutive games with during a sellout streak from May 2003 to April 2013. That is the Major League Baseball record. Be sure to follow me on all social media platforms at Philly Jimbo. Continue to spread the word. Subscribe to the YouTube channel at Philly Jimbo. Kyle and I recorded. We had some technical difficulties, or I had some technical difficulties last night. But there is a new episode of the Brotherly Birds Breakdown out. We talk about the first week or so of camp. So go check that out wherever you get your podcasts, as well as on YouTube. And, of course, spread the word. But hit me up. Let me know your favorite Chase Utley memories. 267-495-8531. That is the Back to the Future voice and text line. Leave a voicemail. Send me a text message. It's all the same.
It's time for Fridays with AI, where we ask AI to rewrite Philly sports history. Every Friday, only on This Day in Philly Sports History.
That's right. It is Friday. Time for Fridays with AI, brought to you by Philly Goat. Go to phillygoat.com. They got you covered for all your Philly sports apparel needs. They got the whole entire LeBron James collection. The shirts are awesome. The team over there, Ryan and the guys, were working overtime because the shirts are phenomenal. So go check them out. Use the promo code Jim Montgomery to take 10% off of your order. There's also some Jalen Brown shirts as well. So let's get Sixered up. Of course, check out the Eagles gear too. Get ready for the season coming up. All right. I mentioned that we're kind of transitioning, closing up some loopholes today. Today is the final matchup for the 66-67 Sixers in their Dream Series against some of the best teams from each era since they won their title. Today, they take on Tim Duncan and the 13-14 Spurs. Sixers are the home team for having a better regular season record, and they throw the first punch in Game 1. They come out with a blistering pace. The transition game was on point. Chet Walker led all scorers with 22. Wilt Chamberlain messed around and had a triple-double, 17 points, 15 rebounds, 11 assists, as the Sixers use a 12-2 third-quarter run to blow it open, winning Game 1, 118-104 at Convention Hall. But this is one of the greatest teams of all time, one of the greatest coaches of all time, Greg Popovich, and the Spurs adjusted and put on a passing clinic in Game 2. They neutralized the Sixers' trapping defense. Tony Parker had 22 points and 9 assists. Wilt added 23 and 19 for the Sixers. But the Spurs evened the series by being efficient. They didn't take a lot of shots, but they took good shots, and they made them, winning Game 2, 112-101, sending it back to San Antonio tied. Game 3, the crowd down in San Antonio was hostile, and Tim Duncan and Kawhi Leonard were on fire early as the Spurs built a big first quarter lead. Sixers battled back, did tie it up at halftime. And the rest of the time, it was back and forth. Sixers did take the lead in the fourth quarter, but the Spurs mounted a furious comeback, but it was thwarted by a huge Wally Jones three, pushed the lead to 5 in the fourth quarter late, and the Sixers held on to win. 27 points for Wally Jones, 3 for 3 from three-point range. Sixers take Game 3, 109-99, and take a 2-1 series lead. Game 4 was a heavyweight battle. Tim Duncan decided to go down low and battle with Wilt, and they both put on a show. Tim Duncan had 22 points, 18 rebounds. Wilt had 24 points, 12 rebounds. Kawhi was clutch, though, late, scoring 12 of his 20 points in the fourth quarter. Spurs tie the game 107-98. Game 5, they come back to Philly, and the Spurs had their most complete game of the series. They seemed to be getting into a rhythm. Manu Ginobili had 19 points off the bench. And the biggest key in this game was Bars Diaw and Thiago Splitter held Wilt to 18 points, which sounds crazy, but Wilt had been scoring 20-plus points this entire series so far. Spurs used a 14-4 run to close out the third quarter, cruising to a 115-102 win, putting the Sixers on the brink and stealing home court back. So Game 6, San Antonio, Spurs had a chance to win it. Sixers put on a gritty defensive performance with their backs against the wall on the road. Wilt comes out, scores 24, 20 rebounds, 5 blocks. Hal Greer and Wally Jones both had hot shooting days, scoring 23 and 22 respectively. Wilt had a huge block on Tim Duncan with under a minute left that sealed it. Sixers tied up, forced Game 7 with a 106-101 win. All right, Game 7, another heavyweight fight. This one was back and forth down at Convention Hall. Both teams had huge runs in the first half. Spurs had a 2-point lead at halftime. Kawhi's second half defense was elite, though. Tim Duncan had 18 points and 11 rebounds. Wilt had 24 and 22. Hal Greer, though, had a chance to tie the game with 30 seconds left. He missed it. Spurs were able to secure the rebound, win it 105-99. They hit their free throws down the stretch, and they take the series 4-3. Now, Wilt did take home the MVP in this in a losing effort, averaging 21 points, 22 rebounds, 4 assists, and 3 blocks per game. But ultimately, it was the Spurs' depth and their chemistry that was the difference in this game. And I don't think there's any reason for the Sixers to be upset about this. But I hope you had some fun with this. I know a lot of people don't know about the 66-67 Sixers, but they were one of the greatest teams of all time. And what this whole AI experience over the summer has taught us is, I think the biggest takeaway for me is Wilt is error-proof. Wilt would have been successful in any era of the NBA, including today's game. He was just an athletic freak. Basically, he forced everybody on all these teams and all the eras to adjust to his game. It wasn't like, oh, how would Wilt adjust to today's game? No. It's like, here's my game. You adjust to me. It also showed that the Sixers were a versatile team that had some guys who could shoot, guys who could play defense, and they could also compete in any era. Essentially, they're a top 3 to 5 team still of all time. I think some of the old heads out there, I know some of you are listening, shout out Uncle Roach, but I think you can make a legitimate claim that they could give the Bulls, they could give the Warriors, they could give the Spurs, obviously the Lakers and the Celtics, they could give them a run for their money in a 7-game series if Wilt is able to facilitate and do his thing. But let me know your thoughts. Hope we had some fun with this. I really like this, so I think we might be doing more of this with baseball and football as we move on. But that is Fridays with AI, brought to you by Philly Goat. Go to phillygoat.com. Use the promo code Jim Montgomery to take 10% off of your order. But it was a 2013-14 Spurs knocking off the 66-67 Sixers in 7 games to give them one of the few losses in this tournament, actually. But yeah, let me know your thoughts on the entire series, what you think, and of course, your thoughts on Wilt and the 66-67 Sixers. Turn heads and bring the hype with a custom hype chain from Lotwin. Perfect for youth sports, fantasy football, or just flexing your pride. Go to Lotwin.com, use the promo code TCCPOD for 10% off your order. That's Lotwin.com, promo code TCCPOD for 10% off. Get your custom hype chain and get hype with Lotwin. All right, August 17th. Let's go back to 1991. John Kruk homered and had 2 RBI. Wilt Chamberlain also had 2 RBI, including the walk-off winner in the bottom of the 11th. Wilt Chamberlain was one of my favorite players. I wanted him to be good so bad, but I digress. Mitch Williams earned the win for the Phillies as they winning his 3rd straight game, tying the Phillies team record for relievers getting consecutive wins. It was the 2nd consecutive game that the Phillies beat the Cubs in 11 innings. It was their 8th straight win. We've been talking about this 91 team and that streak, but it was John Kruk and Wilt Chamberlain providing the offensive spark. Mitch Williams tying the team record with his 3rd straight win for a reliever as the Phillies win over the Cubs in 11 innings for the 2nd consecutive day. And then fast forward to 2000, and one of the more bizarre trades, and I know there's been some bad ones in Philly sports history, but one of the more bizarre trades in Philly sports history happened on this day. Ed Wade, a few days earlier, traded Mickey Morandini to the Blue Jays for a player to be named later. That player to be named later came to the Phillies on this day in 2000, and it was former Philly Rob Ducey, who Ed Wade traded to the Blue Jays 12 days earlier. Following that, essentially they traded Rob Ducey for a player to be named later, which became John Snead. So essentially, if you look at this on the surface, now I know because they were 2 separate trades, I get it, but Mickey Morandini was traded for John Snead, the player to be named later in the original deal. Rob Ducey was traded by the Phillies to the Blue Jays for Rob Ducey. There will be a quiz. But one of the more bizarre trades, trade Rob Ducey and then get him back less than 2 weeks later. Ed Wade was responsible for putting guys like Chase Utley, Ryan Howard, and Jimmy Rollins on the field. But he also had some bonehead moves too, and this was one of them. All right, 1 year later, Scott Rowland, Pat Burrell, and Bobby Abreu homered as the Phillies beat the Padres 7-3. For Abreu, his home run was the Phillies team 10,000th home run in franchise team history. One of the first, I think there's, at the time, they were like number 7 or 8, whatever, to go over the 10,000 home run mark. But Phillies win, beating the Padres 7-3. Rowland, Burrell, and Abreu homered. Abreu hit the 10,000th home run in Phillies team history. And that leads us to today's trivia question. As of today, the Phillies have over 14,500 home runs. That is good for number 9 all time. And since it is the weekend, we're going to give you a little bit of a homework assignment. Who are the top 5 teams in home runs in Major League Baseball history? So in other words, which 5 teams have hit the most home runs in Major League Baseball history? Hit me up on the Back to the Future voice and text line 267-495-8531, or the Back to the Future, or that is the Back to the Future voice and text line, or the Discord channel, which is in the description. But who are the top 5 teams all time for home runs in Major League Baseball history? And finally today, speaking of home runs, Phillies beat the Dodgers 9-4 in LA. Kyle Schwarber tied career highs with 3 homers and 7 RBI. Bryce Harper also had a 3-home run game earlier that season. Schwarber and Harper joined Chuck Klein and Johnny Moore as the only set of Phillies teammates to have 3 home run games in the same season. Could use some of that Kyle Schwarber magic. Can he get hot? But Kyle Schwarber, of course, we know he would break those career highs last year. But a 3-home run game, 7 RBI, joining Bryce Harper, who did it earlier in the season as the second set of Phillies teammates to have 3 home run games in the same season. On this day in 2001, Bobby Abreu hits the Phillies' 10,000th career home or 10,000th franchise home run. Ed Wade trades Rob Ducey for Rob Ducey on this day in 2000. And of course, Phillies win their 8th straight game. John Kruk and Wilt Chamberlain each had 2 RBI in 1991 as Phillies beat the Cubs in 11 innings. All right, lots to talk about this weekend. Of course, let me know your thoughts on Chase Utley. What are your favorite memories? What do you think of the Jalen Brown press conference? It got me pumped. But of course it does. I just, like I said, he's saying the right things, and I don't think it's lip service. I think that is really, he seems like he's going to be an honest guy, and that's what he is feeling, what he's thinking. So, again, sign me up. But let's have some fun. Congratulations to Chase Utley, who's getting inducted into the Phillies Wall of Fame tonight. Chase Utley, you are the man. This has been This Day in Philly Sports History for August 7th, 2026. My name is Jim Montgomery. Go have yourselves a feel-good Friday and an even better weekend. And until next time, I'll see you when I see you.